It was a time of great contradictions. Wealth and poverty collided, hope and despair intertwined. Welcome to the late 18th century in France, where the seeds of revolution were being sown among the discontented masses. This is the story of the French Revolution, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the relentless quest for At the heart of France's discontent stood King Louis XVI, a ruler in a position of immense power yet utterly disconnected from the suffering of his people. As lavish banquets were held at the Palace of Versailles, the nation faced exorbitant taxes, crippling debt, and rising bread prices due to poor harvests. The people cried out, but their voices were drowned in extravagance. Amidst the opulence of the court, the Third Estate, representing the commoners, was burdened by financial strain. Emily, a young seamstress, labored tirelessly, penning her dreams of a better life in the margins of her work. She was but one of the many whose hopes flickered as flames of discontent began to spark. This era brought forth ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, fueled by the Enlightenment's intellectual revolution. Writers such as Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu challenged existing norms and inspired revolutionary thoughts. These radical ideas spread like wildfire through the populace, igniting a collective yearning for change. The Third Estate grew restless. No longer would they endure being ignored and oppressed. In an attempt to address the financial crisis, King Louis XVI summoned the Estates General, hoping to regain control. But as the representatives convened, sparks ignited fierce debates. When the meeting convened, it became clear the Third Estate sought an end to centuries of unfair treatment. On June 17, 1789, they declared themselves the National Assembly, proclaiming that they alone represented the will of the people. Locked out of their meeting hall, they gathered in a tennis court, swearing an oath not to disband until a new constitution was written. "We will not abandon our cause," echoed in unison, a pledge for a new France. Tensions boiled over. On July 14, 1789, a crowd surged toward the Bastille, a fortress and royal prison symbolizing oppression. They stormed its gates to seize weapons, their cries for justice ricocheting through the cobblestone streets. The storming of the Bastille marked the beginning of the revolution. An unquenchable thirst for liberty had been unleashed. As news of the Bastille spread, panic gripped the countryside, known as the Great Fear. Peasants rose against their feudal lords, reclaiming their rights and rethinking their roles in society. In the heart of Paris, the National Assembly drafted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, inspired by the Enlightenment principles. On August 26, 1789, they proclaimed, "Men are born and remain free and equal in rights." This historic document transformed the revolution from mere rebellion into a profound statement of human rights and a blueprint for a new society. For Emily and countless others, it represented a beacon of hope, promising dignity and justice for all. But the revolutionary zeal soon turned to paranoia. In the wake of foreign threats and internal dissent, radical factions emerged, rallying behind Maximilien Robespierre. What began as a fight for liberty spiraled into a fight for survival. In September 1793, the Committee of Public Safety was established, unleashing the Reign of Terror. It was a time marked by fervent nationalism and brutal purges, where over 16,000 people met their fate at the guillotine for merely suspected disloyalty. Emily's vision of a new France grew clouded by fear and bloodshed. The ideals of the revolution that had once burned bright now flickered amidst chaos and despair. However, tyranny often breeds its own undoing. By July 1794, the very men who had once supported Robespierre began to question his methods. On July 27th, he was arrested by his own allies, desperate and fearing for his life. In a twist of fate, Robespierre, the architect of the Reign of Terror, was executed by the very mechanism he had wielded against countless others, the guillotine. The revolution had devoured its children. In the wake of Robespierre's downfall, France found itself in turmoil, seeking a flicker of stability amid the storm. Political factions battled for influence, but it was clear that chaos could not sustain the Republic. Enter Napoleon Bonaparte, a brilliant military strategist whose victories on the battlefield won him admiration and loyalty. In a dramatic coup on November 9, 1799, he seized power, marking the end of the revolutionary period and the rise of a new empire. In a symbolic act, he crowned himself emperor, signaling a shift from revolutionary fervor to imperial authority. The revolutionaries' dreams of liberty and equality were ensnared within the ambitions of. As the dust settled, the legacy of the French Revolution endured, reminding the world of the price paid for liberty. Despite the rise and fall of leaders, the call for equality continued to echo through time. The ideals birthed in 1789, liberty, equality, fraternity, still resonate today, driving movements for change and justice worldwide. Emily's journey, like that of her fellow citizens, was fraught with trials, yet it showcased the spirit of resilience that defines humanity. The French Revolution was not just a moment in history. It was a turning point that reshaped nations, influenced philosophies, and inspired generations to come. As we move through our modern world, we must remember those who fought for their voices to be heard, and the ideals that continue to challenge us. Just as Emily and her fellow revolutionaries dreamed of a fair society, we too must strive for a world that upholds the rights of all individuals. The flames of their revolution remind us that the quest for equality and justice is a journey, not a destination. In the heart of every revolution lies a simple truth. Change is born from the collective will of the people. Let the legacy of the French Revolution inspire us to raise our voices against oppression, to champion the rights of the marginalized, and to never forget the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. So as you walk through your own life, hold on to the spirit of revolution. Be inspired by the courage of those who dare to challenge the status quo, And remember that every act of bravery, no matter how small, contributes to the larger tapestry of history. Together we can keep the flame of revolution alive in our hearts.